Yes, good morning everyone. Okay, so 29th January 2022, the Hindu newspaper. Important articles we will discuss relevant to our examination. So look at, see first page, Supreme Court squashes a year's suspension of 12 Maharashtra BJP MLAs. Now in the past week or previous week on 23rd January, we discussed about this issue in detail. Okay, and now the Supreme Court has given the judgment ruling in this particular case and squashed that 1 year suspension announced by the Maharashtra Assembly. Okay, so simply we should understand this from polity perspective. Okay, what are the arguments given here by the Supreme Court? In addition to squashing this suspension, the Supreme Court has made some observation on the working of Parliament and assemblies, state assemblies. So those statements are also good. There can be direct question on those statements. Okay, so I will read out those statements. We will discuss that particular article from polity perspective. Okay, so whatever the analysis that we have done, you can refer to 23rd January newspaper, and the judgment we will talk about here, the yesterday's judgment that Supreme Court has done. Now, on right side you can see willing to talk to Pakistan on pilgrim flights. Recently we have seen that there was Pakistan Hindu Association proposal to the Pakistan government, which was forwarded by Pakistan government to Indian officials. Okay, so the pilgrimage movement through flights. Okay, so this is the proposal. We already analyzed this issue. There was editorial in the previous yesterday or day before yesterday we discussed this in detail, the editorial. Okay, so India-Pakistan relations, how such people-to-people contact, the cultural links, they help in improvement in the relations between two countries.
In Wagah Gate also they exchanged sweets and some of the food items.
Yes, sure. Okay, so this is good development. Then on bottom side you can see intranasal booster trials get DCGI nod, the Drug Controller General of India, the ultimate regulator approval body for conducting the clinical trials. So yes, those who have received both doses of Covaxin, on them these clinical trials will happen. Okay, intranasal booster dose. Okay, so Bharat Biotech company has been developing this intranasal, we can say vaccine. We will try to know that from COVID-19 perspective. Okay, now directly moving to page number 6. To the poll booth with no donor knowledge. Okay, again, see the writer is writing the same topic. I guess last month or last to last month we discussed the same thing, same writer. But yes, it is important again because elections are there. Yes, the statement, even let me tell you that in last 1 or 2 years, if you are following this, the Hindu analysis on daily basis, we have discussed this topic at least 2-3 times in last 1 year or 2 years. And the same writer, okay, although the good, let's say content is there, relevant content for our examination. So it is a kind of revision for us because this electoral bond scheme is important aspect of, we can say, political funding. Electoral reforms, this is topic, syllabus topic in our syllabus. GS2 paper, polity part. Okay, so that's why it becomes important. Also, those who are having public administration, PSIR subject, so yes, optional subject, for them also it is important. Now on left hand side, you can see at the center, the editorial, it talks about the recent India Central Asia Summit, online summit or virtual summit that was hosted by Indian Prime Minister. Okay, so again it is talking about India Central Asia relations. Okay, so yesterday we had seen the outcome of this summit. Today there is analysis. Okay, so IR section GS2 paper. Again we will discuss this topic. All right. Now on page number 8, I was talking about this observations made by Supreme Court. Engage in debates in the House, not in ridiculing each other. This is the observation made by one arm of the state on the working of other arm. So you can see simply there are three arms of the state: judiciary, legislature and executive, right? And this is very important aspect of the important observations made by Supreme Court on the working of the parliament. They are talking about being the, let's say, parliamentarian or those who have been elected by the people. They need to act as a statesmen rather than brinkmanship. Okay, so all these observations we will try to find out here. On bottom side you can see Philippines inks $375 million BrahMos missile deal. Now we had covered this news previously in this month only.
EDS has also completed this.
Yes, so this BrahMos missile deal, other countries like Thailand and Indonesia also are in talks with India. Now Philippines has become the first such Southeast Asian country, or first India's exports of this BrahMos missile to any other country. Okay, so this is having two significant two aspects. First is defense exports. From economy perspective, India is becoming the let's say want to become the defense manufacturing hub, right? So from economy perspective, and second from strategic or IR perspective, security perspective, how, yes, in South China Sea, to deter the, let's say, aggressive stance of China in South China Sea, we need to have such kind of, let's say, cooperation with Southeast Asian countries.
If you come this near to Ladakh border, we need to have cover with.
Yes, so in other way we need to have some kind of deterrence there. So from strategic perspective also it is important
They
development.
are covering west area of their area, we are covering in east area.
Yes, so we are improving our naval capabilities, we have some strategic advantage there. Okay. Now on page number 11, you can add some, yes, page numbers are not mentioned on this side, we can add that. Okay, so on page number 11 you can see that Honduras gets its first women president. On bottom side there is one news. Okay, now which is this Honduras country, where it is located? We need to have a look at map. Okay, geography mapping perspective is very important. Those countries, small countries, UPSC will not ask large countries because everyone knows about their locations, everything. Okay, so it is a Central American country. Okay, it is a Central American country, and we need to, we can say, find out the location, the bordering nations, and this is located or having some border with the Caribbean Sea as well as Pacific Ocean. So from that perspective we will find out. Okay. Yes. Now on page number 12 you can see the news. Center appoints Anant Nageswaram as Chief Economic Advisor. Okay, so next Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India has been appointed. So we will briefly find out about this CA, what's his role, the tenure and all these things. Okay.
So below one banks transfer 15 NPS what?
Yes, so bad bank, obviously NARCL is bad bank. We already discussed this in Hindu analysis as well as ED lectures.
Sir, can we see this one is the negative growth to the Indian economy? So if we transfer NPA category, it will be drawback of the Indian economy also.
No. Simply we should understand this bad bank has been established for that purpose only. The normal banks will transfer their non-performing assets to this bad bank, and then bad bank will restructure these assets and sell them in the market to earn the profit. Try to understand, at present they are not earning profits, they are bad assets, non-performing assets, and these banks are spending lot of money in recovering them. Also, when these loans are in the balance sheet, it is not able to lend more. That's why we created bad bank.
They are not able to recover the loans.
Yes. So now this National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, NARCL, this is a bad bank, and this bad bank will act as a separate bank which focuses on restructuring these NPAs, and it can generate some kind of profit, and if it is not generating profit, then the government is going to support. Right? So the government announced 36,000 crore for that purpose. Equity support is to be given by the government. Okay, so in detail we have discussed this in the past. Again, if it is in news in future, substantial news, then we will again revise that. Okay, yes, let's discuss this in detail now. First, to the poll booth with no donor knowledge. Okay, it will be revision for you, but it is very important topic. As we know that in the previous month, again the government asked the SBI bank to provide for, let's say, yes, electoral bonds. Okay, so as we know, 5 states are undergoing the general elections for the state assembly. Okay, so again it is in news. That's why he has written this particular article again. Okay, so let's first of all understand about the electoral bond scheme. Okay, so let me give you brief background about this scheme. It was announced in the budget 2017 by the finance minister, and it is implemented from 2018. You can see that the bonds will be issued in the multiples of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh and 1 crore. Only 4 denominations. Okay, so it is as less as 1,000 and let's say the higher limit is 1 crore. Then this will be available at only specified branches of State Bank of India only, not other any public sector bank. Okay, also the donor with KYC compliant account can purchase the bond. Okay, so KYC, know your customer, obviously each and every bank requires this KYC norms to be adhered. Now, the receiver can encash the bonds through the party's verified account. Okay, so this electoral bond is valid only for 15 days. That means once you purchase that bond, the donor purchase that bond, then only 15 days are there that the bond is to be deposited with the political party and political party to encash that bond. So within 15 days it has to be done, otherwise it is of no use. Then first 10 days of 4 quarterly months, you can see January, April, July, October has been specified by the government for the purchase of this. And when there are general elections for the Lok Sabha, additional period of 30 days will be specified by the government. Now, any party that is registered under section 29A of RPA, Representation of People's Act 1951, and has secured at least 1% of the votes polled in the most recent general elections or assembly elections, that political party is eligible to receive the funding through electoral bond scheme. Okay, this is the criteria. This should be registered as well as the last assembly or general elections 1% vote minimums. Okay, then the electoral bonds will not bear the name of the donor. That means anonymous donations are done here. Okay, then the donor will get the tax deduction and the recipient or the political party will get tax exemption provided that the returns are filed by the political party. Okay, so donor through the political funding will have tax exemptions. Okay, so suppose any corporate company is there and some of percentage of profit is donated as simply the political funding through this bond. So it will have the tax exemptions. So you can understand any political party, let's say large corporate, it can give substantial funding to the political party to have some kind of vested interest. After suppose that political party comes to the ruling or form the ruling government, then there can be in return some favorable policies.
Sir, I have a little bit doubt, sir. If any company has been want to donate money to particular A party, that money will come through bank, through bonds, and that money will receive this party A. That is the main criteria of this one, sir.
Yes, that bond can be encashed through a particular account. Okay, on a particular account only. The political party has to open a particular account for receiving those funds. Okay, all the funds through the electoral bonds will be received only in that account. Try to understand this.
Okay, so present they are donating directly by cash or whatever. Then government has decided to transfer the money through as a legal way.
Yes, basically it is the measure taken to reduce the black money, as it is these electoral bond transactions will happen through formal banking system. First thing we should understand this. Formal banking system, that means it has records where from money is coming, where it is going. Earlier what used to happen is the directly cash transactions in the lakhs of rupees used to happen, and that was creating problem. Okay, so yes.
95-99% no one will take over this. Any party will not take.
Yes, we will discuss what are the issues with this. Okay, so you can see that due to some concerns related to the lack of transparency, in 2019, Supreme Court asked all political parties to submit details of donations received through electoral bonds to Election Commission of India. Okay, and it also asked Finance Ministry to reduce window of purchasing electoral bonds from 10 days to 5 days. तो यहाँ पे जो 10 days का था वो 5 days का करने के लिए बोला है, right? So these are the changes. Now let's understand or analyze what are the issues involved here in this scheme. So yet the final ruling or the judgment is pending. Supreme Court is still yet to let's say listen to all arguments and give the final judgment on this particular case, electoral bond scheme. But in interim judgment, what Supreme Court has said that since both the purchase and the encashment of bonds are made through banking channels, both is happening from the banking channels, all it would take for a person to check the identity of the donor was for her to look through every corporation's financial statement. Now this is very vague argument. One can understand that it is very vague argument. How? One has to look into all the corporations who let's say have done the political funding. Then it has to match, oh इतना amount उन्होंने किया है पे तो शायद इस political party को किया होगा, ठीक है? तो ये match करते बैठना पड़ेगा उसको. They have to match like this because there is no explicit information allowed. How? Simply we should understand there is no obligation on political parties to provide details to the publics on each donation received by them through the electoral bonds. This is lack of transparency. Second thing we should understand, political parties are reluctant to come under RTI itself. Okay, even the Chief Justice of India, his office has come under the RTI, but political parties are hesitant to come under RTI, and therefore the information about this is not in public domain. Also, companies are not under no obligation to disclose the name of the party to whom they have made donations. Otherwise, there is no, let's say, such called as anonymous donations. Okay, so simply we should understand that because of this, it is creating some kind of opaqueness. Two important arguments we should understand that. By bringing the changes in, let's say, Companies Act and RPA Act, Representation of People's Act, first thing is that the 7.5% limit, upper limit of the corporate donations, it was removed. Okay, what was this limit? 7.5% of the profits of the previous 3 years. So the corporate donations not more than this were allowed earlier. Now this limit was completely lifted. Now, and any amount of donation can be done. You can imagine. There is no limitation. Second thing about shell companies. Okay, so earlier there was a limitation that any company to donate to the political parties needs to have the existence for 3 years at least. This provision was to let's say prevent any kind of donations from the shell companies. Okay, so this particular limitation was removed. So that means yesterday one new company is formed, tomorrow that company is donating 10 crore rupees. This may happen.
But government main target to store the money in the banks. That is the main target now, sir.
No, not store the money. Simply we should understand they want money, but they do not want from where, which source it is coming.
They want to money as a legal.
Yes, they want it is legal. Ultimately, in future, suppose the Supreme Court will ask, no, you show your transactions. Now, Election Commission of India is having those details. Try to understand this. Election Commission of India knows everything, but there is no obligation on ECI to reveal that information.
The time will not able to search much.
Yes, so simply we should understand this opaqueness is affecting the free will of the people. What democracy stands for is when the people are having knowledge about that candidate, then there will be a sense of free and fair elections. Otherwise, it is not free and fair election. Okay. So we need to know about the sources of political funding. Then only we will be able to do, we can say, vote with free will. Okay. And this is the essence of democracy. The arguments we should understand in, let's say, criticism. All the article actually is related to criticism of this scheme.
It is one type of trap, sir. After elections, whatever the fund is getting from X company, a government have rights to income tax rating on that X company, sir, after completion of elections.
Yes, of course, simply we should understand that whatever the income tax returns are to be filed. So they are also earning profit or indirectly not paying tax, no. It is overall loss to the people only.
They will not consider the election time, sir. After completion of election, enforcement director will have the chance to write on that X company, sir, donor company.
Yes, yes, surely. Of course, that is different aspect. We do not know क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पे actually internally. Okay, so it is kind of revision for you, electoral bond scheme, and you should be aware about the positives of the schemes also. Okay, so positives like eliminating the black money transactions, cash transactions, ये positives है वो scheme के, right? So also protecting the identity of the donor is very important. That's why the anonymous donations. That's why the name of the donor is not there on the electoral bond. Also as less as 1000 rupees. That means the common people will be able to donate. ये सारे positives है. Okay, so yes, you can mention those positives also if the demand of the question says that. Now at the center, next editorial, it talks about first India Central Asia Summit. This was held.
If within 5 days the party has been not able to withdraw that money, what about that money, sir?
15 days, 15
Yes,
days.
sir, within 15 days they are not able to spend that much of amount money. What is the position of that?
Not spend, encash. Encash into its own account.
Okay, sir. They are converted as a
Huh.
cash, but they are not unable to withdraw also sometimes.
No. Simply we should understand that the bond validity is only for 15 days.
Okay, sir.
Bond validity is only for 15 days. When that bond is encashed by the political party, then only the amount transfers.
Okay, sir. First, people we need to purchase from bank, and then people will give to the party, and people need to convert the cash.
Yes, the political party needs to encash that into its own account. The political party will submit that bond. It goes to that particular bank account, that particular bond, and then the money will be transferred. Otherwise, it is not transferred.
Within 15 days.
Within 15 days.
That people has been not able to submit that bond.
Then there is no transfer of money.
The donor will not get money.
No. Donor will have money. Simply we should understand that.
Okay, so that is my doubt.
Otherwise, there will be unnecessary loss to donor, no? And where that money will go?
That is my question.
No. The donor money will go to the party only if party encash that.
After 15 days, donor does not have the chance to give the party also, sir.
So, a new bond, maybe he has to purchase for that. Okay. Yes. Now, talking about this India Central Asia relations, the Delhi Declaration had given this statement that the ties between India and the region have been historically close with civilizational, cultural, trade and people to people linkages. Directly use this as introduction to your answer. Such kind of statements needs to be written in IR questions, international relations. Okay, so yes, the India Central Asia region relations enjoy the historical, we can say, background, this close relations, civilizational, cultural, trade and people to people. Okay, so civilizational, we all know about Silk Route. Okay, the trade that happened through Silk Route, people to people contact at present also, even in the past 70 years, we have seen how the Central Asian countries, republics like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, their Indian movies, culture aspect, movies, songs, so they are very famous in those countries. Okay, so this aspect is we are talking here, cultural aspect. Now, the major concern between these relations have been the connectivity issue. Now, the connectivity issue, first thing we should understand that there is land border or land route, but this land route is obstructed by Pakistan. There is obstruction by Pakistan, right? And that's why we need alternative route. If Pakistan is not allowed, then other is maritime route. So bypassing Pakistan, we need to go through Iran. Okay, so that's why we invested since 2016 in Chabar port. Okay, and Chabar port is being developed for having the trade with that country, along with reaching to the Central Asia through Afghanistan. So we are building rail and road route with the Central Asian countries there. We are investing in that infrastructure. But there is also a rider because there are US sanctions on Iran. So in recent past, again India is hesitant on more investment in that Chabar port. Third option that we have is International North-South Transport Corridor. International North-South Transport Corridor. But one more concern talking about this is that not all 5 Central Asian countries are members of it. Also, it is not realized yet. It is just a proposal. Okay, International North-South Transport Corridor. Okay, so connectivity issues, you should talk about these 3 at present. Okay, then the second issue that was discussed in this we can say 90 minutes virtual summit, a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. This is for a concern for both Central Asia region and India. Okay, so concern especially related to the extremist activities and its spillover, and the humanitarian crisis, there are concerns related to refugees. Okay, open border is shared by the Central Asian countries with Afghanistan. So they are worried about this. Okay, so both countries have formed the, let's say, special groups for working on 2 issues, Afghanistan and connectivity. Chabar port. Okay, working groups. This is the outcome. Okay, both issues are covered, connectivity, trade, and simply we can say Afghanistan issue. You should be also aware about the other challenges, that although India is focusing more on Central Asia region with its interest related to regional peace and economic security of the country, but yes, other countries like Russia and China are in competition. Russia is already dominant in these countries because the erstwhile USSR states are.
They want to testing land capacity.
Yes, simply we should understand that Russia is the most strategic player in that region. These states are erstwhile USSR states. Okay, so they have the we can say political links, historical links, and China is now the biggest development infrastructure partner. इनका जो BRI है, Belt and Road Initiative, and China's trade with this bloc is around $40 billion, and India का कितना है? $2 billion. You can see the difference. Okay, and just before this summit, these countries had virtual summit with Foreign Minister of China. So you can understand that there is competition. So China is doing competition not only in India's neighborhood but also extended neighborhood.
It's playing mercantilism concept now, sir.
Yes, so obviously it is going to give competition to India. So neighborhood, India's neighborhood like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and we can say that Myanmar also. But and Pakistan to hai hi, obviously. But extended neighborhood, Iran and this Central Asia. Okay, so China is investing in Iran also. There is competition for India. Also now Central Asia, already the dominant player in that region. Okay, and then we can talk about Pakistan. Recently it has increased ties with Central Asia. Okay, so its outreach to Central Asian republics, signing transit trade agreements, offering trade access to the Indian Ocean at Gwadar and Karachi. Now, if these countries accept this, then whatever the investment we have done in Chabahar port, that is west, ठीक है, तो वो ईरान से नहीं तो पाकिस्तान से आएंगे अरेबियन सी में, right? So they want the access to the oceanic route or simply Arabian Sea. So it can be through Pakistan, it can be through Iran. But yes, obviously these countries will think about less radical country, or we can say more stable country compared to Pakistan.
Yes, sir. Except Pakistan, all Arab countries are polite countries, sir.
Huh.
India.
Yes, so yes, China is also selling weapons to Central Asia. Yes, of course. So ये सारी चीजें तो है ही, ठीक है. So China is dominant player in its neighborhood. Also, you should talk about SCO. All these are members of SCO. Yes, India and Pakistan is also now permanent member. Okay, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So Russia, China, and then these republics, 5 Central Asian republics, and India and Pakistan is also the member.
Due to exporting of weapons from China, that is the USA is the main threat, thinking as a threat to the Western countries.
Yes, yes, yes. And the 2 of Central Asian republics, 2 or 3 countries, they are also part of Eurasian Economic Union, जो रशिया ने बनाया हुआ है, ठीक है, इकोनॉमिक यूनियन, यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन. दिस इज हाउ चाइना, रशिया एंड पाकिस्तान, they are playing dominant role there. Okay, so this is other challenge for India.
It's nothing but triangle shape they are going to be forming in Central Asia, sir.
Yes. Okay, so these arguments are very much relevant for our examination. We can expect question on India Central Asia relations. Now, Supreme Court squashes year suspension of 12 Maharashtra BJP MLAs. Okay, so this is important news. Already we had discussed this news. There was editorial on 23rd January. I have provided the link to that lecture. Okay, 23rd January. You can download this PDF. You can click on this link, or directly you can search on YouTube channel of Lukmaan IS 23rd. So in detail we have discussed. So what Supreme Court has said here, that a 1 year suspension it has revoked by saying that, calling it irrational act that would impact democratic setup, leave constituencies unrepresented, and help governments on a thin majority manipulate number. So 3 aspects. First, it is saying that it is irrational act. There is no rational, or we can say objective basis for taking such decision. Okay, so why they have said? Because simply there are provisions in the constitution. Okay, they talk about that the particular, let's say, constituency cannot remain vacant for more than 6 months, and within 6 months the RPA provides for re-election to that particular seat. Okay, so more than 6 months, such kind of seat, the person or MLA remaining suspended means it is as good as not represented. Okay, so it is affecting democracy also. And third thing is that the minority government can misuse this, manipulating the numbers of opposition party. Okay, so this is, then also we should understand the background that these 12 BJP legislators were suspended in 2021 monsoon session for grossly disorderly conduct in the house. Now the court said it was illegal to suspend sitting legislature beyond the ongoing session. Simply it is saying that only it can be suspended for the time period of that ongoing session and not beyond that. Okay, so beyond that, if the action is taken, then it is illegal. Now the other observations, look at the other observations. A nation aspiring to be the world leader should debate on welfare of its citizens rather than making parliament a stage to exchange jeers and launch personal attacks on each other. Okay, so this is one observation. Second observation, with the completion of 75 years of independence and ambitions of becoming world leader, elected members should at least know that they are expected to show statesmanship and not brinkmanship in the house. This is also important observation. And legislature is the first place where justice is dispensed to the common man through a democratic process, it observe. That means Supreme Court is saying that it is the first place where the justice is delivered. Okay, so this is very important. We can expect this statement as a question statement directly on the working of parliament.
Sir, even after 75 years of our independence has been, does not giving any freedom to the politician, then how we can able to give the freedom to the normal people as per the constitution rules?
Yes, of course, that is different thing. Okay, but the significance of legislature in whatever the functions of the legislature are there or the parliament are there. So the functions needs to be delivered. Okay, and the one of the important function is we can understand debate and discussion is there. But instead of debating and discussing, if you focus more on the personal attacks or let's say rukus or obstruction to the working of the parliament, or simply we can say disorderly conduct, है ना? So that is not, we can say, statesmanship. Now aggression during the debates has no place in the setting of the country governed by the rule of law. Okay, so even if you are debating on the floor of the parliament or any house of the parliament, that means you need to debate in a disciplined manner. Okay, so aggression is not having any place. Also, even a complex issue needs to be resolved in a congenial atmosphere by observing collegiality and showing full respect and deference towards each other. And we know that how the debates and the working of the houses happens. Okay, so yes, of course, it is not only directed towards any particular political party, rather it is for both ruling and opposition parties. The observations are for all. Today's ruling party become tomorrow's opposition party and does the same thing. Okay, so simply the observation is applied to all. Okay, yes, so it can be used in the writing essay topic. Suppose if you are writing about essay topic in democracy or the working of parliament, you can use such observations made by the Supreme Court. Now Honduras gets its first women president. So this particular country located in Central America, first of all look at the location. Okay, so we know that this is the narrow part connecting North America and South America, the Central America part. So there is one country, Honduras, this is that country. This country is largely having the mountainous terrain and only coastal areas having the plain. But country is having the border, maritime border with Pacific Ocean also, as well as Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea. Okay, on Western side you can see Guatemala and El Salvador, these two countries, and on we can say southern side Nicaragua is the other country. Okay, its capital Sigapla. Okay, this is the capital and the largest country, largest city. Then we can see that Honduras mainly consists of mountains with narrow plains along the coast. Many let's say resources are there: timber, gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc, iron ore. Then along with that, hydropower potential, fish, coal is there. Also region considered biodiversity hotspot because of plant and animal varieties or species varieties. Okay, so yes, UPSC will not ask these things, but location wise, there can be statement in which particular continent or the location, Central America, North America, South America. Or there can be question talking about whether it is having border with Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Small countries are there, no? And if they are in news, quickly we should look at the map immediately. This is how the mapping study is done. ठीक है, कोई भी कंट्री न्यूज में है तो इमीडिएटली हमने पॉलिटिकल एंड फिजिकल मैप वर्ल्ड मैप में देख लेना चाहिए. Okay, yes. Then intranasal booster trials get the regulator nod. Okay, so Drug Controller General of India has given the approval for phase 3 clinical trials of intranasal dose. But this is manufactured by Bharat Biotech. Okay, so this doses, the trials will be on those who have received both doses of Covaxin. Now Covaxin is also developed and manufactured by this we can say AIIMS in Delhi and Patna. Now how the dose will be given: chimpanzee adenovirus vectored COVID-19 vaccine BBV154 will be administered through an intranasal route, and each single dose is of 0.5 ml. Some trivial information is there, factual information we need to remember for prelims examination. Okay.
So what is the two animals of
chimpanzee adenovirus. Largely all these let's say vaccines are adenovirus vectored COVID-19 vaccines. Okay. Now center appoints Anantha Nageswaram as chief economic advisor. Okay, so CEA. So yes, he has assumed the position or charge of position which had been vacant since early December after the predecessor Krishnamurthy Subramaniam returned to academic life at the end of the 3-year term. Okay, so now the new CEA has assumed the office just 3 days before the economic survey or the budget is going to be presented. And chief task or main task of the CEA is formulation of this economic survey or drafting of economic survey. Okay, so about CA, usually responsible for drafting economic survey presented on the eve before the budget. Okay, second thing, he is equivalent to rank of secretary to the government of India. He serves for the 3-year term, advice on economic matters to the government of India, and he is head of economic division of the Department of Economic Affairs. This economic division is responsible for economic survey and budget formulation. Economic division under Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Also, he is the ex officio head of cadre of which services? Indian Economic Services. Indian Economic Services. Okay. So, what should be answer to this question? Yes, online students, they should be also answering the question. Yes.
1, 3, 4 is the correct answer, sir. Because of 5 days, they changed it 5 days now, sir.
No, that is different. 5 days, 10 days, that was the window for the bank to provide that.
Then it will come total, all are correct, sir.
Yes. So, with reference to electoral bond scheme, consider the following statements and we have to find the correct statements. Right? Yes. So, all of them is correct answer. Yes. Electoral bonds will not bear the name of the donor. Yes, anonymous donations will happen. Also, it is valid for only 15 days. Within 15 days, the political party has to encash that. The donor will get the tax deduction. Yes, of course. Then the political parties are required to submit details of donation received through the electoral bonds to ECI. So, this is the Supreme Court order given in 2019. Okay.
So, but they given only 5 days, what is about that one, sir?
That 5 days window, see the 10-day window is there no, on January, April, September, that particular 10-day window was there earlier. For 10 days, the people will be allowed to buy
Okay, sir.
from the bank.
Buying time is the only
Ah.
5 days.
Now that is reduced. Okay, there could be misuse, no?
Yes, sir.
एक्स्ट्रा विंडो दिया तो वो बहुत सारा लोग उसमें वो खरीद के वो ये कर देगा, राइट? सो सिंपली 5 days window is given, but it is available in 4 quarters. Okay? Yes. Any question? Yes. Online students, they can also ask question.
Sir, as per National Education Policy 2020, based on that one, JNU, Delhi has been deleted MPhil, sir.
Deleted?
Deleted MPhil programs, sir.
हाँ.
Whether it is a beneficial to the scholars or not, sir.
Actually, I don't know why they have deleted that. Yes.
They want to research methods after completion of
Yes.
graduation. You don't want to do any PMPhil, but if you want to PhD admission, you can come
PhD.
to research papers.
Yes. MPhil is short course is there, no? PhD is in detailed research.
Detailed research, sir. But if you want to get PhD admission, you need to compete in general department MPhil, sir, master should be. But those are doing MPhil, they are just registering, completing, sir, but they are not doing any research.
Yes.
They are getting the funds from the central government, central universities, international organs, but they are not doing any research methods.
Yes.
To avoiding of the, I think maybe to avoiding of that such small misuse of that policies, they are converted as a research methods.
Yes. It may be.
If they given the research method, machine should be, they will involve in societies. Otherwise, they will not able to involve.
Yes, that could be reason. Yes.
They given some explanation, but it will be how much it will be support to teaching field people, sir. But teaching field people will not able to go continuously in field, sir.
Yes, of course. Yes, for teaching, of course, it is required to have
But
the appropriate qualifications.
technical people will have a research method in a single room also they can able to maintain, sir. But social people will machine should be go to outside of people.
Yes. So they require the
Society
ground level research. Yes. New education policy also talks about that. Okay, it is relevant to new education policy also. Okay.
I think it's a very controversial and it will go to very debating.
Yes, if it is in debate, then we will discuss that in coming lectures. Okay. Yes. Okay then. So we will stop. Fine. Thank you.